forwarded to an automatic voice message system. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, man. Sorry to tell you, but we're gonna have to let you go. I just don't see this working out. Anyway, good luck on the job search.
It's only my mum. Feel like I haven't spoken to you for ages. So I was just ringing to catch up on you. I will speak to you later. Love you. Bye.
Hey Gondola, it's Slab. I'm calling to check up on you. I haven't heard from you in a couple days, and I saw on your Twitter that you got fired from your job recently. I just wanted to call and, Anyways, yeah, I hope to hear from you soon, dog. Hope you're doing good.
My name's Gondola, and right now, I'm unemployed. Being unemployed means you have a lot of time on your hands. Time that you have to fill with something. Applying for jobs right now is mind-numbing. I enter the same information that's in my resume into a dumbass cover letter, and then I have to enter it all again into a dumbass questionnaire just to get a rejection email 2 months later because they were never actually looking to fill that job. What do you do in the times when you're not rubbing your gray matter into a cheese grater? In this video, I'm going to tell you how to fill your time with Warframe and give you a review of the game from the perspective of a drunk loser with too much time on his hands. Warframe is a game that's been out for a long while, but if you haven't heard of it by now, I'll give you a brief rundown. It's a third-person shooter with an emphasis on collecting resources to give you more tools to play with, and a fun story, gorgeous aesthetic, and it is completely free. Not freemium, not free with DLC, completely free. Let me talk to you about the first of the unemployment ratings, cost. The in-game currency Platinum, or Plat, could buy you cosmetics, speed up construction, or buy you more slots for your gear, which is the best use of it. You can do this by farming for parts, which you can then trade to other players through a chat, an in-game market, or a website. The website is the best way to avoid getting scammed because you can see what other people are selling parts for. The only thing you can't acquire in-game is community-made cosmetics, because some of that cash goes to the creator. Not only that, but periodically they'll throw a discount your way for up to 75% off of the in-game currency. So you can cop $100 worth of plat for 25 bucks. Obviously, if you're unemployed, that's great news. It's rare to find a game with monetization as good as this, with games like Destiny and Overwatch charging you for seasons and cosmetics and whatever Genshin Impact is doing. This is a refreshing change of pace, and it really sort of stands out in the gaming industry. So we're gonna give them 5 out of 5 Gondolas for pricing. One of the most important things you can do while unemployed is not be sober. So, how does this game play when you're inebriated? Luckily, for the majority of Warframe, you don't have to have all of your wits about you. You don't need to have really quick reflexes, so just as it does with most things in life, alcohol makes this game so much better. Weed, however, is a bit more difficult. Me personally, I'm not much of a stoner. When I smoke weed, I kinda just veg out and turn into sludge. I'll go find somewhere soft and eat my weight in Cheetos. Warframe, however, is one of the only games I can play high. Maybe it's just muscle memory, but I am usually able to complete missions while zooted. Just load into an easy mission, look at the pretty colors, or go to your ship and pet your dog 50 times in a row. I've been playing Warframe on and off for over a decade at this point, since it was in the closed beta, so that might have something to do with it. I can play it while drunk, that's no surprise to me, and I can play it while high, but the experience isn't really improved by being high, so I'd rather do something else. For inebriated play, we're gonna give Warframe 3 out of 5. Next up, fun. You control a Warframe, a superpowered suit of armor, each with 4 abilities and a passive. These stretch from turning the dead into more loot, going really fucking fast, lighting everything on fire, planting a garden, going really fucking fast, summoning a cat, going really fucking fast while bouncing around like a bowling ball, and Trinity, who heals people. This game has got really tight parkour, you're always flying around the map, it has hoverboards, jetpacks, spaceship battles, fishing, mining,
dancing, walking, rearranging furniture,
horse riding, flying horse riding, a roguelike, Barbie dress up, family therapy, Flappy Bird, missions with the difficulty turned way up, and unless you're doing those endgame activities, you cut through all the enemies like butter. There is a huge arsenal of weapons to use. Snipers, assault rifles, a spear you can throw but also shoot, flamethrowers, kunai, explosive kunai, bows that shoot tentacled horrors, shotguns that blast the enemy with radiation so they turn on their own side. Most of these guns have alternate firing modes, which can do a whole other level of weird stuff. And then there's the melee. Oh man, the melee. There are tons of different melee weapons, most with different stances which give you access to different combos. Slash weapons will cut them in half, puncture weapons stick them to the walls, impact will send them flying, you can fill them with radiation, burn them to death with corrosive acid, fill them with your hot viral load. I'm pretty sure they meant to call this game War Crime, because the amount of things that you could do to these poor sons of bitches is insane. There's a reason you can't find Geneva on Earth. The weapon I used for most of my playthrough is the Sinoid Gamma Core. This funny looking hammer disintegrates people as it kills them and scans them, stealing their private medical data and entering it into my codex. Once the codex entry was complete, it could summon a copy of them to fight alongside me.
For your help.
The real star of the show, however, is the glaive. You might think we use this to slice people in half. Wrong! This is War Crime we're playing. By messing around in the mod system, we can turn this thing into a thermonuclear boomerang. I'll be honest, I don't exactly know what went into the secret sauce to make it do so much damage. I'd be seeing numbers in the hundreds of thousands, and I'd have most of the team's damage. The biggest issue you're gonna face as a new player is that the game throws a lot at you at once. There is a pretty complicated mod system, and as you get further into the game, more and more systems get piled on. If you played consistently during these updates, then you're probably on top of things. But I'm coming back after a couple of years of hiatus, and the last time I played, I didn't really pay a lot of attention. If you're new to the game or coming back, the wiki is gonna be your best friend. You're gonna need it open pretty consistently every time you see a word or activity you don't know. I found the best way to play is to pick something, like a gun, a Warframe, a pet, look up how to unlock it, and just go for it. You will get sidetracked by bullshit, and every step leads to more steps, and that's half the fun of the game. Discovering systems on systems and new areas, items, and activities to reach the goal that you set yourself. It's one of those games where you'll stay up all night playing it with your buddies, shooting the shit, and just getting into those really wild late night discussions.
I'm very scared of a lot of the things you sent me, because one of them was literally someone eating cow vagina, so...
To be fair, they made it look pretty tasty. That was a lot of processing to go into it, you know. Plus, I mean, the term beef flaps have never been more applicable.
Oh, Cicero!
Cicero! He's got no riz for the Night Mother's gat!
And found the sauce.
He found the sauce.
I was just gonna say they found the sauce.
He's found the sauce! Goddamn. I've been farting in my chair too much. I just moved and I just got like a whiff. It was like,
God damn.
Don't you oven yourself, brother?
Segment and then craft the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, that's pretty good. I can hear it. He's playing Neon Genesis right now. That's pretty fucking good.
He has it on autoplay.
Oh,
yeah, this ain't me.
You
This ain't me.
Won't even like, subscribe, and hit that MFing bell. That's tragic, really.
Oh, I did.
I have a full Death Cube Prime set, though.
Okay,
I have a
yeah.
full
Let me get Death
fucking-
Cube Prime, please. It's in the name, Death Cube. It must one-shot everything late game, right? It's the Death Cube, not the Hurt Cube. Come on, guys. The one downside is a lot of the boss fights are just wait for the weak spot to appear, shoot it, wait for the weak spot to appear, etc., etc. Some of them are very cinematic, some of them aren't, but it is definitely a weak point in this game. Weak boss fights in mind, we're gonna give this 4 gondolas out of 5. So now we're getting to the most critical thing a game can give you while you're unemployed, and that is being a time sink. Whether you're waiting for the job listings to refresh, your next rejection email to come in, or your ramen to finish cooking, a lot of the time unemployed is spent painfully aware of every second that ticks by. You want to make the time pass without realizing how much of your life you wasted in college getting a degree. So I log back into Warframe. I haven't played in a minute. I go looking through my ship and I find my dog. He promptly shows me his butthole. I haven't fed him in the last 3 years, but luckily they did remove that mechanic. I look through the Warframes that have been released since I've been gone, and I find Grendel. He's a big fat bastard who rolls around eating things and then vomiting them back up, and I feel a kinship. I go to the Wikipedia and I look up how to find him. I find out that his blueprints drop from arbitrations. These are very difficult missions that you only gain access to once you've completed the whole star chart. This is not too tough because I've already done most of them. I look for alternatives and I find out about something called the circuit. You're given the choice of 3 random frames every week, and by completing the circuit, you can unlock them as well as some little bonuses. So I look at this as an alternative to finishing my star chart, plus I get to try something new. In order to unlock the circuit, you have to complete a quest called the Deviri Spiral. No spoilers, but it was a very fun roguelike game mode that lets you use equipment you haven't actually unlocked yet. I didn't get Grendel, but it did let me test a frame called Kullervo, who was really fun and did an insane amount of damage. In game, they call him Kullervo, and I think this is because he's based off a Finnish god, but I think that's stupid, so I call him Kullervo. I put him on my to-do list for later. I wanted Grendel first. Grendel wasn't one of the frames I was offered, so after completing the circuit, I decided to head back to the star chart. They've added some new bosses to the star chart, and after I kill them, I get marked by the Stalker. When you kill a boss in the game, there's a chance you'll get marked by the Stalker. He'll show up in one of your missions and try and kill you to get retribution for the bosses you just killed. Even if it was a robot, a mad scientist who vivisects people, or just a barely sentient pile of flesh. Forget all the people you sliced down on the way here, they're not important. You killed that guy, and that's unforgivable. The lights flicker, he spawns in my mission and promptly gets his shit pushed in. Usually, he'll drop the blueprint for one of his weapons, but this time, he dropped a blueprint for his super edgy vape cloud effect. I go to craft this effect, and I see it needs a component you can only get from arbitrations, but that's okay, that's what I had planned on doing anyway. Once I completed the star chart, I went to go do the arbitration, but was met with a pop-up saying that there were nodes I hadn't done yet, and they were locked behind another quest. To unlock this quest, I had to build a railjack and a necromech. The railjack is the ship you use in the space battle missions, and it was relatively easy to unlock. I started the quest to unlock it, and luckily for me, it only needed resources, and high school me had accumulated quite a stack. With my railjack space-worthy and named, get it, I went off to grind the necromech, thinking that it would be just as easy to unlock. However, the necromech was slightly more difficult. The necromech is acquired on Damos, so first you must complete the Damos quest. Damos is an open world area, and there are fast travel points around, however they are relatively sparse, so in open world areas you have a few options. You can run from A to B like a broke boy, though there are a few frames who can make this easier. You can use a K drive, which is a hoverboard you unlocked pretty easily from the Venus open world area, or Valis, or you can use an Archwing launcher. Usually, Archwings are reserved for space combat, either by themselves or in the railjack missions, but there is an option to craft an Archwing deployer, which lets you use it in the open world areas. I already had a K drive, my special edition bitch drive. The problem was that the Damos was full of valleys and mountains, which made it hard to navigate, as well as tough enemies around to knock you off your board constantly. So the K drive wasn't really an option. Despite the fact I already had an Archwing, I wasn't actually able to deploy it on Damos. Of course, it wouldn't be that easy. I would have to craft the Archwing launcher segment for my orbiter, and that required some weird resource from Earth's open world, iridite, which I really couldn't be bothered to deal with. So I decided to cheat a little and unlock Titania. Titania is a Warframe whose ultimate ability lets her shrink to the size of a bird and fly around like she's using an Archwing without having to actually unlock the segment. Her quest, which I had been sitting on for quite some time, involved crafting something called a Nightfall Apothic, which meant I had to go to Earth and scan a bunch of plants at night. Now, I just picked which side of the Earth was dark, but I've come to understand that it's based off time, and I was just incredibly lucky. After I had done that, I was told to create a Twilight Apothic. My heart sank because I realized I'd probably have to create like a Morning Apothic or something after that. After I had gone and crafted the Twilight Apothic, I received the blueprints for the Daylight Apothic. At this point, I was thoroughly used to it, and I scanned the last few plants, which let me craft Titania. However, it takes 3 days to craft Warframes, and I didn't really want to spend the platinum on speeding it up. In the meantime, I applied to some more jobs, finished the Damos story, and cracked open some relics, which I'll talk about more later. You may be wondering, Gondola, if you finished the story, why couldn't you build the Necromech? And that's because the story gave me the blueprints for the Necromech, which listed the parts needed to build it. Parts that dropped randomly from hostile Necromechs found in vault bounties on Damos. 3 days and several rejections later, I leveled up Titania to max and took her to the next step of my quest. Now I just had to play those missions until the Necromech parts dropped and I'd be done. At least that's what I thought. But those parts were damaged, and in order to repair them, I had to grind out a bunch of resources so that they could be refurbished and then crafted into the Necromech proper. I hadn't paid too much attention to what the blueprints actually required because I had been so focused on getting the parts. These don't just require mining materials from Damos, but also from 2 other open world areas. So I started on Orb Valis. But while I was mining on Venus, the Thermia Fissure special event was going on. These were fissures scattered around the map, and the more you sealed, the better the rewards you could get. At 100 fissures, you unlocked the Opticore Vandal. I already had a normal Opticore, but the Vandal was better. While Titania was good at flying around and spotting the fissures, she struggled with dealing with the amount of enemies that would spawn. I decided now was the time to get the Archwing launcher segment, as I was probably going to be doing a lot of grinding regardless, and it would only make it easier in the long run. The resources I needed for the segment were only found on the Earth open world area, so I headed there. Grogtool is required pretty easily, but the other resource is scattered around the open world randomly, and I needed about 50. I decided to do the bounties on Cetus. Some of the rewards for these bounties with relics that I mentioned earlier. Relics are effectively loot boxes. Each have a chance of containing a part for a prime. Primes are better versions of the regular Warframes and weapons that have a nice fancy golden gilding. To unlock a relic, you load into a Void Fissure mission, and Void Fissures are very different from Thermia Fissures. Those are 2 different things. And at the end, for each player, it'll pick a random item from the relic they selected. And if one person gets really lucky and gets the rare drop, everybody can take it, and it's shared, it's duplicated. So you always want to crack relics in a group of 4 to maximize your chances. So when I got bored on the plains of Eidolon, I would go into the Void Fissures and just use up some of my relics. Now, with what high school me had grinded out and the relics I had earned during my time playing again, I had lucked out and managed to get a lot of parts. Soon, I had 4 Warframes cooking, a few of which's regular versions were actually harder to get than the primes. But now I was running out of space, and I was cooking a few prime versions of Warframes that I already had. I didn't want to just sell them off for credits. I knew a better way to get rid of them: the Helminth. The Helminth is a happy little fella in the back of your ship who can eat a Warframe, take a power from him, and give it to a new one. This is a necessity for a lot of the late game builds, so I figured it'd be a good idea to unlock it now so I didn't waste my old frames. In order to unlock this, I had to reach rank 3 with the Damos faction so I could buy the Helminth segment blueprint for my orbiter and build it. This involved a lot of mining, fishing, and hunting on Damos. Luckily, Titania made this a lot easier, and soon I reached rank 3 so I could buy this segment. When I got the blueprint, I realized I was missing a key component: a tag, which you got for successfully hunting animals, for a creature I had never seen before. I googled roughly where it was, and then I went out to the wilds to look for it. I spent an hour looking around trying to find it before I discovered a major problem. With all other animals I had hunted up until this point, if you looked around with the tranquilizer scope, it would show up with a bright yellow ping. With the velocipod, the creature I needed, the game counted it as an enemy, so it never showed up in the scope, and I had to look for it with my human eyeballs. After looking up an online tutorial, I found a decent method of hunting for it, bagged a couple of them, and crafted the Helminth for my ship. Except I had been so focused on the velocipods that I skipped over the part where I needed a Dremel alloy, the blueprint of which is attained from the mining vendor on Damos, so I went and bought that blueprint, only to discover it requires Traveride, which you get from Venus. So it's back to Venus to get some Traveride. Helminth segment crafted, I plug it in, the big fella wakes up, and I have to give him a name, feed him his first frame, and then I'm back to Earth to grind the pieces needed for the Archwing segment. After another couple of hours grinding, I built the Archwing launcher segment. But wait! The Archwing launcher segment doesn't let you deploy Archwings, you fucking idiot. It lets you build the Archwing launcher. This requires 50 more Iridite. So back to the plains to hunt for more of this elusive outcrop. Luckily, it requires 30 fish oil too, so at least I get to relax and unwind, chucking spears at fish. With the segment finally built, I get to return to Old Valis to seal some thermia fractures. Remember that? The frame I choose to take with me is a new one I had unlocked from the Void Fissures, Revenant Prime. Now he's fucking cool. He can mind control someone, and if they shoot another enemy, they get mind control too. He uses a shield that makes him invincible, and if an enemy shoots him, he can then mind control that enemy for free. And his ultimate is a big fuck you disco party that deals obscene damage and also redirects damage dealt to him back out through the beams. With Revenant and Archwing in hand, this makes the Thermia Fractures a breeze, and soon I've completed the Thermia Fracture event. Now that that's done, I can focus on the mining, and soon I have all the parts I need to get the Necromech, except I haven't. Writing the script and applying the jobs has taken up all my time, so I haven't actually gotten around to searching for those last few resources yet. But it's no big deal, because while all of this was going on, I got enough relics and gotten lucky, so I got Grendel Prime. The better version of Grendel. And holy shit is he fun. You roll around like a big fat Sonic, eating bitches, puking them back up, and it is insane. It is the most fun frame I've messed around with in a very long time. But I bet you forgot the original goal of all this, huh? Here's the thing. I could have bought Grendel in the store for about $15 worth of plat, or his prime for less than $5. But if I'd have done that, all of this wouldn't have happened. I don't even know what I would have spent my time doing. That's the point I'm trying to make about Warframe. There is no grind. There is just game. If you look at it like everything is a task you need to do before you get to the real game, you'll never actually have fun with it. There is no after. If I'd have bought Grendel, then I would be using him to grind out something else. So why not just buy that other thing? Warframe is the most generous game on the market today because it gives you everything for free and lets you just play the game to unlock it. No paid season pass, no DLC, nothing. Just gameplay. So for those reasons, we're gonna give Warframe 5 out of 5 Gondolas. There we have it. I give Warframe 17 out of 20 total. Definitely something I recommend for people to play when they're unemployed. It's cheap fun, it sucks up all your time, you can do it while drunk. There really is no downside to getting Warframe. Leave me some suggestions in the comments for what you want me to play or review next. Cool. Glory to Gondola, GWP, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.